This is part 3 of our lesson on credit cards. And remember, this is section 8.8. Section 8.8. All right, now, so basically in this part, all I'm going to do is look at 3 problems. And those 3 problems are similar to those that are on your assignment and on My Math Lab. All right, so here's the first one. Okay, so the first one. And also, this is in Canvas. So if you need a copy of this, this is in Canvas. Just go to the module that deals with this particular lesson. And this lesson, remember, is called credit cards. Okay, so what we're going to need in example 1 is, again, this formula. Remember, this formula was used to determine the monthly loan payment for car loan and a mortgage. Remember that? So it's really used for a fixed installment loan, but when you look at this example, it will apply to this example as well. Okay? All right, you're going to see how this is going to work. Okay, so number 1. Suppose your credit card has a balance of $5,200. So basically what you're trying to do is not use your credit card anymore. You're trying, $5,200 is a lot of money to have on a credit card with a high percentage rate. The annual percentage rate is 17%. So that's a pretty high amount. So you're trying to not use that credit card. You're trying to pay it off. So decide to pay off the balance in 2 years, though. Okay, in 2 years. That's a lot of money in 2 years. And you don't make any further purchases at all. You're just paying month by month until you don't have any balance left. Okay, so if there are no further purchases charged to the card, how much must you pay each month? Okay, so we're going to use this formula here. So the monthly payment, we're going to use this. All right, so here we go. All right, number 1. Okay, so when you do the problem on your assignment, make sure, just like you did when you dealt with car payments and mortgage payments, that you show what you're substituting into this formula. Okay, so number 1, so your monthly payment will equal, okay, so your monthly payment will equal, all right, so remember P here will be the 5,200 times the rate divided by N. So the rate's 17%. You got to write this as a decimal, 0.17, divided by N. N is the number of times, it's the number of installments each year. So it'll be 12, divided by, and then you're going to say 1 minus, so parentheses 1 minus, parentheses 1 plus, 0.17 divided by 12, raised to the negative 12 times, and then this is for 2 years, so T is 2, okay, and then close. All right, now use your calculator to figure out what that is. Okay, using your calculator. All right, so using our calculator, we get, okay, for that, oops, let's see how we're going to do this. All right, so we're going to get too much light. All right, so I'm going to have to hold it like this. All right, so we're going to get 5,200 times 0.17 divided by 12, close the parentheses, divide, open parentheses, 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus, 0.17 divided by 12, close the parentheses. Now we have to do the exponent. So raise 2, that exponent, parentheses negative, 12 times 2, close the parentheses, and then close that. And then I get about 200, and it says round, let's go ahead and round to nearest dollar. So let's go ahead and let me actually see what your book uses in terms of rounding. Hold on. Okay, so your book uses round to the nearest dollar. So round to the nearest dollar. Okay, so using rounding, this is about, it didn't say round up, it said make sure you always read the directions. It says round to nearest dollar. So it said round, it didn't say round up. Okay, so about $257. All right, so that's how much you would pay each month. So you have that regular monthly payment that you're going to do each month to pay this thing off with interest. Okay? All right, now that was part A. All right, part B says this. So you can pay this amount. Part B says how much interest will you pay? Well, first of all, what you need to do is remember this is how much your balance is, okay? This is how much you pay each month. You do realize that some of this is interest, right? Okay. So what I would do to do this is since this is my monthly payment and I'm paying this over 2 years, let's find the total amount of payments, total amount paid. Let's do that. So the total amount paid then would be $257 per month. There are 12 months in a year, so that's how much I would pay in 1 year. So if you want to look at it, so in 1 year, to pay off all that debt you've accumulated, in 1 year you would have to pay $3,084. All right, $3,084. Now keep in mind that most Americans are in that situation. So if you can put off buying something for 2 years, then this might be a good idea to do. Pay this thing off. Stop being in credit card debt. And some people have many credit cards. So you should only have one credit card and just use that credit card without going into so much debt though. Only use credit cards for emergencies. And then try and pay it off at the end of the month so you don't have that huge interest rate to pay off. All right, times, and then this is for 2 years. So in 2 years, I will have paid $6,168. Okay, so that's how much you would pay in 2 years. So that total amount paid 2 years. So now if I want to find how much interest this is, so the amount of interest is going to equal this amount minus what my balance was. And so I get $968. All right, so it's $968 you could have used for something else if you did not have that much credit card debt. All right, so that is number one. Okay, number two. All right, many times you can get a bank loan, that's loan, that is less than a 17% as in number one. All right, so that'd be like a personal loan your bank can give you. Suppose you decide to get a personal bank loan, I'm not sure why I keep saying load, bank loan to pay off the balance that is in number one. The loan is for 3 years, and you are able to get the loan, finally got that one, at 9.8%. How much will you pay each month, and how does this compare with your credit card payment in number one? Okay? All right, so let's look at that. So number two. All right, 2A. All right, so it's a different interest rate. It's for a different number of years, except the interest rate is lower. All right, but I would have to pay it over 3 years. But it may be so basically the reason why you may want to do that is because for many people, $257 a month, see that's per month, is still a lot of money out of their check, out of their work check. So out of their income. So if you can get a loan that is less percentage, and that will save you an interest though. Okay, so you don't want so the idea is not to pay more interest. The idea is to pay less interest. So if you can find a personal loan at a lower interest rate, even if it's 1 or 2 years more, but save you interest in the long run and still lower your monthly payment, hey, I'd go for it. I would go for it. Okay? All right. So let's see what happens. Number 2A. Okay, so how much would you pay each month? All right, so we use our formula. So the monthly payment equal. All right, so let's see what we get. We'll go ahead and enlarge this a little. All right, so a monthly payment is going to equal. All right, so again, this time it's 5,200 because we're still using number 1, the amount of number 1, times the rate, which is now 9.8%, so 0.098, divided by 12, and all that's being divided by 1 minus, in parentheses, 1 plus, 0.098 divided by 12, raised to the, in parentheses, the exponent's negative 12 times t, and t in this case, remember, is 3 years, and then close the denominator. All right, so let's use the calculator, see what we get. So in the calculator, we're going to get 5,200 times 0.098 divided by 12, close the parentheses, then divide, open parentheses, 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus 0.098 divided by 12, close that parentheses, so we're closing this one. Now we're going to raise it to an exponent, so raise to, parentheses, negative 12 times 3, close that exponent, and then close the denominator, and then let's see what we get. So we get 100, round to the nearest dollar, that's $167. So I was able to lower my payment, right? I'm able to lower this. That's a good thing for me. I'm able to lower this. So let's see though if I can lower my interest. Hopefully it's going to lower this. So that's going to be, well, first of all, let's finish answering part A. How does this compare with your credit card payment in number 1? You would say this is less. So let's do it this way. The monthly payment will be less. Okay? The monthly payment will be less. All right? Now, part B. Part B says, how much total interest will you pay? So that's the same thing like part B here, right? So if I'm going to find out how much total interest I'm going to pay, I'm going to take this amount, find out how much, and remember that's per month. That's per month. So I'm going to take that amount, multiply by 12 to get that 1 year, and then times 3 to get the 3 years. So it'd be 167 times 12, so that's how much you would pay in 1 year, times 3 years, and that's going to give you 167 times 12 times 3, $6,012, right? $6,012. So that's how much you would pay. So your interest, that's your total payment. Total payment over 3 years. All right, you understand? Okay, so your interest then, interest paid, will be that amount minus your principal, your original balance, which was $5,200. $5,200, and that's going to give me $812. So I was able, not much, but hey, anything helps, right? I was able to lower that interest amount, right? So notice that this amount here, which was about $90 less or so, you could use that $90 for emergencies that could happen along the way. So, and that's $90 per month. So even though you don't save that much more in interest, it's still a good idea to get that personal loan if it helps you in this, like in this situation. All right, now let's finish with Part B. So Part B says, how does this compare with your total credit card interest in number one? All right, so I would say something like the total interest paid is less than in number one. Okay, the total interest paid is less than in number one. All right, and then finally number three. So number three says, we work, number one, assuming you decide to pay off the balance over 1 year instead of 2. All right, now I hope you realize that see this amount was per month over 2 years, right? So if you decide to pay this whole amount in 1 year, what do you think is going to happen to your monthly payment? If you decide to pay this amount over in 1 year, what do you think is going to happen to that? Well, that's going to be a lot more, isn't it? But what do you think is going to happen to this? That will be a lot less. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but it'll be less. So let's see if it's a lot, though. Okay? So this is obviously going to increase, and this will decrease. All right. Now, the only time, now you got to always think about your finances before you decide whether to do something over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and so on. Okay? So what do you have available to you in terms of income? And then once this is paid off, once your credit cards are paid off, don't go back in that situation again. Try the hardest you can not to go back in that situation. All right, so let's do number three. So we're going to rework number one, assuming you want to pay it off in 1 year instead of 2. All right, so so this is number three and number three. So 1 year instead of 2. So my monthly payment will equal 5,200 times 0.17 divided by 12. All that's being divided by 1 minus, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.17 divided by 12, close the parentheses, and now you're raising it to the negative 12 times t. T this time is 1 year. Remember it said 1 year. And then close that. And let's see approximately per month what your payment is. All right, so here we go. All right, 5,200 times, in parentheses, 0.17 divided by 12, divide by, in parentheses, 1 minus parentheses, 1 plus 0.17 divided by 12, close that parentheses. Now we're going to raise it to the exponent, negative 12 times 1, close parentheses, and close the denominator, and I get $474, rounded off. Okay, so you saw that I went from 257, right, to 474. So if you can afford that increase, then go ahead and do that, because what's going to happen with this? That's going to decrease. So that's money you're not throwing away. All right. Now it says this. So how much more must you pay each month, and how much less will you pay in interest? All right. So let's talk about that. So that's your monthly payment, right? That's your monthly payment. So how much more will you pay each month? So how much more will you pay each month? All right. So over 1 year it's 474, and then over 2 years it was this amount, right? So 257. You're going to subtract, and then when you do that, you get $217. So you have to pay this much more per month. Okay, so we get $217 per month more that we would pay. So this is more per month. But what happens is that that's going to lower, though, that's going to lower this interest that you would end up paying. So I think that's the next part. So the next part says how much less will you pay in total interest? Okay, so let's talk about that. So how much less will you pay in total interest? Okay, so how much less will you pay in total interest? Okay, so this is how much you would pay per month, right? Okay, so $474, you pay that per month. So what I would do to do that is figure out how much that is over 1 year period. So the total paid in 1 year, because this is 1 year, remember you're paying this off in 1 year, is 474 times 12, because there are 12 months in that 1 year. So 474 times 12 equals $5,688. Okay, and so the total interest paid. So the interest paid in 1 year. Interest paid in 1 year is, and you're going to say that minus 5,200, and that's going to give you 488. So $488. So that's your interest in 1 year. All right. So over 2 years, remember, was this, right? Over 1 year, it's this. So you knew it was going to be less, and it's a pretty good amount. So the interest saved. So interest saved, or how's it word? Let's see. How much less? Okay. So you will pay. All right. So we're going to take the 968. We're going to take this amount and subtract that amount, and that's going to give me $480. All right, so you will pay $480 less in interest. Okay, so that's how much less you'll pay. You will pay $480 less in interest. Okay, all right. So that is the solutions to this problem. All right. So make sure when you do your assignment, you look at the work that we did for these 3 problems. Okay, so that's going to take care of part 3.